What is up, YouTube? Absolutely Cichlids here. I promised you guys another video, and here it is. Alright, today in this video I done an update earlier, fish room update earlier. Now I want to talk about quarantine tanks and kind of the way I set up my quarantine tank and the benefits of having a quarantine tank. Okay, my brother just recently had a problem, a really bad ick problem. Luckily Conway Stevens, my good friend Conway, was able to help my brother out, get that problem solved with little casualties. I mean, there was a few. It was a little late getting to it, but Conway was able to help him save the rest of his fish in his tank and one of his red gold-spotted severums, or red-spotted gold severums, that actually carried the ick. He had 3, got them from our local pet store. Had a severe case of ick. It was, oh gosh, it was the worst case of ick I've ever seen. It was really bad, but my good friend Conway was able to save the day again and help my brother out. Got the problem fixed. He lost 2 of the severums, but was able to keep his 1 severum and like a dozen really nice plecos, like blue-eyed bristlenose plecos. He had 2 a 5-inch and a 8-inch royal pleco, rhinos, all that, really nice plecos, and Conway was able to save the day. So all of that could have been prevented with a quarantine tank. Luckily my brother has learned his lesson and now has a quarantine tank. He hasn't had to use it yet, but it's mainly just security. So I believe that everybody in this hobby, it's not a bad idea to have a quarantine tank. So first off, I want to talk about the setup. It's a pretty bare tank. I would have it bare bottom, but I have some really small fine gravel down there and I didn't really feel like taking it out because it's a pain. Oh gosh, it's a pain to get out. But I might take that out in the future, but for right now it's staying. And a heater, I probably wouldn't have a light on it, but it's actually lighting that tank as well, so it's got a light. And a sponge filter hooked to a power head. And the reason I have the sponge filter with the power head, one, it makes for really good filtration. I actually have a couple of these put together in the fish room. They work really great. Plus, there's a huge bio load in this tank just because my biggest synspilum right there is about 4 inches. And my biggest black belt is that one right there, and he's probably 3. So, and there's 11 of these guys in here. So there's quite, this tank is pretty well stacked. So I got good filtration. I'm not running a hang on the back, for the simple fact is all my hang on the back cartridges have carbon. And 90% of the fish medications that you can buy will not work or are not as efficient if you have carbon in your system. So I just have a sponge filter right there with a power head. That's it. Benefits of having a quarantine tank. Okay. 1, it doesn't really matter where you get your fish, whether you get them from your local pet store, a good friend, order them online, anything. It doesn't matter. Usually when you get fish in, before you put them in your main system or your community tank, what have you, anything, it is always good to quarantine your fish, because most of these diseases that they can carry, such as ick, Colmenares, intestinal parasites, all this stuff, you don't usually see it at first. It usually comes later on, just in the case of my brother. Actually had those fish for 2 weeks before they even showed any signs of any disease. So it's always best to quarantine your fish at least 3 weeks, just to keep an eye on them before you put them into your main system and cause a huge disaster. The next thing is, if you have a community tank and you have one fish come down with something, some sort of illness or something, you can take that fish from the population and put it into its own tank. That way you can treat it by itself and it can heal without the stress of all the other fish picking on it. Another good reason for that is it's not always best to unnecessarily treat other fish when only one is sick. Just like in the case of humans and antibiotics. Eventually, if you are taking antibiotics regularly, you can become immune to them. So it's best to take the sick fish, put it in a tank by itself, and treat it by itself. Another thing I want to talk about is for you people who, or other hobbyists who are in the hobby of Central and South American cichlids, especially the bigger fish like Amphilophus, Viejas like are in this tank, Cacatea, your umbies, your Parachromis genus, all those monster fish, guys, Oscars, they require big tanks to thrive in. And you know as well as I know that this hobby is expensive. We shell out a lot of money to have and care for these amazing fish. So when it comes to medicating these fish, it can be more efficient to take one of those big fish, put them in a smaller tank, and that way you are actually saving a little more money by only treating a smaller tank instead of treating like 110 gallon or this 125 gallon that I have. With this prawn too that I'm actually treating this tank with, it calls for 1 packet per 10 gallons. Okay, the pack that I have of prawn only has 10 packets. Okay, it would take me 2 whole boxes of this medicine just to treat my 110, and that's only one treatment. Okay, so I was able to take these fish in this tank from a 75 gallon, put them into a 40, and it's actually more efficient for me to treat these guys in the 40 than it is in the 75. So actually it's kind of like a money saving tip, really. But like I said, guys, it's always best to have a quarantine tank. It can prevent major disasters in a community tank or just in general. So before you go buy new fish and throw them into your main system, quarantine them, guys. It will save a huge headache just by quarantining these fish. That's really all I have for you. I mean, just like a quick tip, I guess. Treat your fish before you put them in your tank. You can move them. If you do have a fish get sick, you can move it from the main population, put it in a quarantine tank, treat it by itself. Plus, and the main thing, I think this is the best part about it, is for those bigger fish, you can take them out of that huge tank, and instead of treating your huge system, you can put them into a smaller tank, save a little bit of extra cash, and it works more efficiently that way. So thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm hoping maybe you learned something, especially for a lot of you new guys in the hobby. I'm gonna be honest, when I first started, I had no idea what a quarantine tank was, but now that I know, I use it, it works, it's efficient, it's great. I mean, it's great to have. It saves tremendous headaches, disasters, all that sort of stuff. But like I said, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about this video. This is really honestly like my first informative video. So let me know what you think. Hope you guys enjoyed. That's all I have for you. Be on the lookout for new videos. Probably have a couple more. I'm out.